area here. So I've had a number of cars, right? I've had 2 Aristos. My first car is an Aristo. I've got the Supra right now, which is awesome. LS 400s. I've had Hilux Surfs and Land Cruisers too. So, and I've test driven what are they? Altezza, which was pretty cool. A little on the slower side, but I mean it's no slower than like say my Silvia, my non-turbo Silvia or something like that. Which, you know, it's still a really fun car to drive for sure. Like I would definitely consider getting an Altezza. They rev really high and they have a really slick feeling shifter, which I really like. But anyways, back to the X Chassis. The reason I like these cars, and the reason I've like bought a second one here, is it's just a perfect compromise. You know, it's not a super lightweight car, but it doesn't feel overburdened by its weight like the LS does or something like that. You know, so it's a nice highway car, it's a nice city car. It's got nice steering feel. It's a lot sharper than, say, the Aristo or the LS. Not quite on the same level as the Altezza. I gotta say, the Altezza had a really nice steering feel. But it's similar. You know, it's really similar to that, and it's fun, which I really like. I mean, to have a standard with this car would be an ultimate combination. But they're a little cost prohibitive, to be fair. I mean, honestly, I think it makes more sense to just buy an automatic and swap it to an R154 or something else even. There's other alternatives. Just because the price is literally it's double the price to get that standard in here. And a lot of those standard cars are in rough shape because they're, you know, people like to abuse them. So anyway, and I mean the motor too. The motor on this is amazing. The 1J versus like the Beams 3S. Like the Beams has nothing on this. This motor is awesome. Revs to 7. Sounds really great. It's got a lot of power. Oh jeez, where am I going here? I gotta turn around. You know, and you know, like all these Toyotas, it's a double wishbone car, which is definitely good. It's got really nice pickup too. It's not like there's a lack of torque. I mean, I think some of the Soarers with the old twin turbo VVTi suffered from a bit of a turbo lag, but this is really on point. Like it goes. There's no problem at all. It's really nice. And this is like stock power levels too. I mean, it might get a little laggier with a bigger turbo on that, but as it is right now, I think it's just great. This easily competes with a lot of the modern day premium sedans. I don't think a 335i would really have a whole lot against this. I mean, it might have a little bit, but it'd be so easy to just do a little bit of work to this and you'd be right up there, probably passing these guys. Rotation off the back. This thing really hunkers down too when you go full throttle. Stock suspension, which is a little on the soft side, but I mean it doesn't lean too hard in corners, but it definitely squats, so it just adds to the excitement. I think like it would be nice to get some coilovers for sure, but I like the stockness of things. I like to see what it was made like. I mean, you can make anything stiff and nimble, but it's another thing to have like a stock car that it is fairly nimble, but it's still comfortable. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I do have a slight suspension issue in that front left. I think it's just the strut rod bushing, so I have to get that fixed. But you know, compared to, I don't know, the Aristo, I don't think I'm gonna go back to the Aristo. I think these are just a little bit more my lifestyle. I like having the double din stereo, so I can swap that out. I like having the lighter weight. You know, it doesn't really, like the Aristos kind of go through their ball joints really quickly. I don't think these really have the same issue. Things like that, you know, it's just a little bit less weight, a little bit less VIP for a little bit more sport, and I think the styling is more interesting just because you know, GSs aren't very JDM or Aristos. They look like Lexus GSs. A lot of people won't even notice that it's JDM. Like, not that that's a reason to buy a car, but they're just kind of not as interesting looking at this point in time now that they've been around for so long. Like, it really has no problem getting up and out of its own way. Like I said, these Eco tires, they can struggle at times to keep up. They're, I think, a 235 all around, which, you know, it could definitely handle a little bit more with. But the nice thing about this motor is, like, the torque, the power, it all comes on so quickly and so smoothly, and the motor just sounds 100% healthy. You know, like, I've had a G35 Infiniti sedan with a 6-speed, and, you know, that had a nicer steering feel. It was definitely a little sharper, I think, probably a tighter rack, but doesn't have the motor. Like, that VQ motor was garbage compared to this. That thing sounded its best like under 3,000 RPM. The higher it went after that, it sounded harsh and thrashy, whereas this just sounds amazing all the way from start to finish. And it's definitely quicker too. Definitely quicker than that VQ. Way more fun than that VQ. You really can't compare inline sixes to V6s. There's no comparison. Inline six all the way every day. I look at V6s like they're a pure compromise, just a side effect of packaging and cheaper to manufacture. Oh, get a little rotation there. Alright. That's what I mean though, like it's really easy to have a bit of fun, chill back out with traffic, just a Camry officer, you know, like it's really nothing special, but it definitely has some really, really appealing features that I don't know, I never really felt like I was having that much fun driving Aristos or LSs. Like, they felt great, they're great cars, but they're not that fun. Whereas this really addresses that. It's the kind of car, and like they're holding their value well too. You buy one now and it's not really going to lose any value. And, you know, like they like them in Japan too, which tells you a lot. They have a lot of cars to pick from. And these are kind of the cool new thing, like in the drift scene, and even just in general. Like they don't really make cars like this anymore. So it's nice to get a nice clean one now while you still can. And it'd just be a great car to own for a long time. And with a motor like this, you shouldn't have any major issues at all. Like, you might have to buy some tires every once in a while, but, you know, I just think they're amazing cars. I'm a huge fan. I think the Skyline is a pretty similar car if you wanted to get a Nissan alternative. But, like, the price of those Skylines, I mean, I suppose you can get a Skyline sedan with a turbo and a standard probably less than this, but not much less, and you're gonna probably end up spending more over the long term because of the amount of work you'll have to put into it, because it's a Nissan and not a Toyota. I'm a fanboy, right? So, I don't know. To each his own. I'm sure the Nissan has better feeling brakes, and the Toyota brakes are a little on the soft side, you know. I don't have a lot of confidence in them, but they work fine, and I think with a bit of upgrades like some stainless steel lines and that, it wouldn't be a problem. I gotta stop. anyways, I mean, the car drives great. Just a minor niggly issue. Like, I don't know if you noticed there too, my rotors are definitely warped, so I gotta get new rotors. Or get them turned at least. But that's minor issues, really. The steering on these is pretty good. You know, like, there's not any slop. There might be a little bit of numbness, but not even, like, not really. I think there's definitely a fair amount of confidence in the steering. I'll admit the G35 had a sharper feeling rack. It's a little bit more precise. But this is still really good. It's not like it understeers or anything like that. So, I don't know. To each his own, I guess. But they're definitely worth a test drive. Like, really, I would just buy it. Like, if you know, if you don't have one around you that you can test drive, and you're wondering about importing one, just do it. And if for some reason you don't like it, which I doubt, you can just sell it for what you paid, if not more. It's, you know, you could probably drive it for a year and then sell it for more than what you paid. And you probably wouldn't want to sell it after a year of owning it because it's such a good car. It does consume a fair amount of fuel though, especially when you're getting on that boost. Like, even though it's just a 2.5 liter, it definitely consumes a fair amount of fuel. But fuel's cheap right now, so I would definitely rather have one of these than a V8 with the 1UZ. As nice as that 1UZ is, and as long as it might last, I don't plan on putting 250,000 miles on one of these, so it's not a huge deal that the longevity, and there's nothing wrong with the 1JZ's longevity. I'm pretty sure that could go easily 200,000 kilometers without any real issues. So anyways, yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I'm probably coming off a little preachy, but I don't know, I've had a lot of cars. I've had Silvias, G35s, I had an SRT4 Dodge, and I don't know, the Toyotas are just the ones I really want. And I think they're clearly a good brand. Like, they're a leader of the automotive industry. And for a long time there's just Nissan fans everywhere, and no one seems to be a Toyota fan. A lot of the Toyota fans are older guys who are like into the old Supras or old 86s. And, you know, to be fair, like, there's not a lot of cheap, good Toyota sporty cars. MR2s are fairly expensive and kind of hard to work on. Celica all-tracks are really hard to find, and again, kind of hard to work on. They didn't put any of these sweet turbo motors in anything in our markets, so Americans don't really have a lot, you know, without doing swaps and stuff. Supras are cost prohibitive for almost everybody. I can see why a lot of guys like the Nissan stuff, but when you're able to get an import and you can get all these awesome Toyotas that exist, you gotta get them. Like, I don't know, it's a no-brainer. Then again, most of them are sedans. This is like the All-Track GT4 is the same thing. It's hard to work on a car. Most of the cool JDM Toyotas, I think, are mostly their sedans. And I guess if you don't like sedans, then you're going to be a little salty about that. But what's wrong with sedans? You know, a lot of, like, most BMWs are sedans. Even the two-door BMWs are basically two-door sedans. Like, they don't really look like a coupe, like a Supra or a Corvette look like coupes and pure coupes. You know, BMW 3 Series coupe is just a two-door sedan. It really doesn't look that different. So, I don't know. I'm a fanboy, no, I'll admit it, but I just think they're some of the best stuff to ever come out of Japan. And I don't think they make this kind of stuff anymore. Because even Toyota's, you know, was ripping on the VQ, V6, but the new Toyotas don't have these kind of cool motors other than like the ISF. So it's just kind of how the industry went, unfortunately. But it's okay, because like right now is the time where we can get these cool cars. In the United States, they have to be 25 years old, which is getting on, but I still think you could probably find pretty nice condition JZX 90s or Soars or Aristos pretty shortly here. I think you'd like it, you know. Like, they're sweet cars, especially for the price. They're not that expensive for what you're getting. Like, I guess you don't have a backup camera, but do you really need that? And if you need to plug in your iPhone, just get a new stereo. And if you're getting an X chassis car, it's just a regular double din. It's nothing too special like an Aristo or a LS, which might have like a Nakamichi or some sort of integrated stereo that has like the HVAC controls inside. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna let you go. I'm up. I'm out of time. Out of words to say. So I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day.